So recently I went on a away game for the college that I shoot sports for, and I was trying to figure out what to pack. I didn't want to overpack, but I also didn't want to underpack and regret not having a certain lens. So I packed up the 300, the 70 to 200, the 16 millimeter, and the 24 to 70 f2.8. Now, I still wasn't sure on what two lenses I would want to run most of the game, and I didn't want to have to be running back and forth from my bag to switch gear. So originally, I started off for pregame with the 70 to 200 and the 24 to 70. And then after I got shooting a few minutes in, I realized they're kind of close to the same stuff. I really need something more dynamic. So I jumped into the 16 millimeter and kept the 70 to 200 on the second body. So for pregame, I was using the 16 to get some super wide shots. We had some clouds coming in, so I wanted to kind of emphasize the calm before the storm, I guess you could say, and have some fun in editing later on with that in mind. So once the game started, I knew that I was going to want the 300 for pretty much the whole game. And so on the other body, I had my 24 to 70. And I thought if I'm in the end zone and they're coming in for a touchdown or they're doing a goal line play, I can go with the 24 to 70 and be positioned close to the goalpost or a little, halfway in between the sideline and the goalpost and be able to cover anything that at least comes my way. And if I'm quick enough, I could pull up the 300 for the other side. Well, the first touchdown came in, and from switching from the 300 to the 24 to 70 or vice versa, it just isn't quick enough because you're not trying to throw a lens down and damage anything. So I decided to go switch out the 24 to 70 for the 70 to 200. So now I have the 300 and the 70 to 200. And for the rest of the game, that was my setup. This setup right here is almost perfect. If I ever got a third camera body, then I would probably put the 16 or the 24 to 70, and I have everything covered for anything that comes my way. But for this game, I found the 300 was perfect for any 40 to 50 yard out play coming my way. And once they got to the 20 or 30 yards out from the end zone, I would switch to the 70 to 200. That way I can always zoom out if they're getting too close and I need to get a wider shot. Now, talking about moving around, with the 300 and the 70 to 200, I was allowed to stay put for most of the game. As long as I was on the correct side of the field where they're coming towards me, I didn't have to move around a lot with the 300. And then once they're getting closer, I'd go to 7,200. So I was only moving from maybe like the 35 to the end zone. I didn't have to switch back and forth to the sides of the field a lot or try to get up as close as possible to the player's box. So having this setup was really hugely beneficial. And, sometimes it just takes years to find out what works best for you. And I think having the 300 and the 7,200 is it. We have a home game this Saturday, so we'll see if it works as well at home or if I need to go over to the visitor side to have, less people in my way and kind of work what I'm finding out what works for me. But so with this being my first away game this season, I really wanted to focus on getting plenty of content with their away jerseys on and just kind of getting images of every player that I can that is on the field. So I really focused in on pre-play and after-play action to really just kind of stockpile the images for the college. So another thing I tried out that I usually don't use is I use the electronic shutter with the camera that had the 300 millimeter on it. And that is because the 300 millimeter is the non-IS version. So it does not get the 12 FPS in mechanical shutter on the Canon R6. The IS version of this lens does, but this is the older version and doesn't have IS. So it's not getting 12 FPS. So I went electronic so I can get that super fast burst mode and make sure that I'm not missing any action. And I didn't find any issues with going to electronic shutter for football. Sometimes you could see some bending in arms or legs, or abnormally elongated balls that aren't supposed to be elongated. Like the football would be a little longer than it would be, or like a softball will look more like an oval. So you really have to be careful using the electronic shutter. But I didn't see any issues with my images from this football game by going electronic shutter with the 300. So that was a huge plus. With that said, if you have any questions, put them down in the comments below. I'd also appreciate it if you would like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.